The Architect Paris has been off the radar since late 2018, with zero information released since the news on signing with Focus Home Interactive. I've had my eyes on it myself since 2018, dedicating a mention to the game in my yearly upcoming strategy game video since that time. And in these last 3 years, I have speculated, sometimes lost hope, and too often wondered just what is happening and what we would get out of the game once news dropped. Well, 2021 has turned out to be the year we finally heard something, and not just news, but an actual teaser trailer. Better than that though, I have personally been in touch with Enodo Games through a handful of conversations to get into the meat of the game that goes beyond just the trailer. And just a forewarning, it's not what the community is expecting, but believe me, you will still love what they've been cooking up. So in this video, we'll go through some of the bigger features in the Architect Paris using the trailer and an array of screenshots provided to me by the developer. And a huge shout out to the developer, Enodo Games, for collaborating with me to get this video out on the tail of their own trailer. It's been a great pleasure getting to know about the game after so long. Now, let's dive into what can be known about the Architect Paris. First, I feel a pretty hefty obligation to bring you, the audience in the dark for 3 years, up to speed with it all, to give you some context of current development. The scope of the game has changed quite a bit. The last we heard of the Architect Paris, the basic concept was that you were a young architect, freshly moved to Paris, and working for an architectural design firm. It was up to you and your team to reshape the city as you saw fit, going in any number of design directions, eventually having the potential to redesign the city district by district as, at least how I interpret it, you compete against other companies while juggling district wealth, well-being, unrest, etc., etc. The concept of a complex design management city simulation / strategy game has been scrapped, at least the management aspect of it. You are not part of an architecture firm, nor will you be competing against other firms, and the mechanics of your population are no longer factored into any of the choices you are going to make. The shift in scope is a simple one, if not an easy one to come to a conclusion about. Enodo Games boiled it down to either developing a bad management game or developing a really good construction game. This became pretty evident to the team after spending so much time getting customization tools and rendering the city to look its best. They realized that the management side of the game was just not engaging nor developed enough to keep the focus of the player or the team. Instead, it was much more fun and entertaining to just be creative and build, play around with customizing buildings and see your city take shape without having to worry about all the other things we saw back in 2018. And that's the game in this trailer you just saw, a solely creative construction simulator. No competition, no imperatives to drive you in a defined direction. While I was initially a bit disappointed that the game had in a way changed so drastically, it's in further talking to the devs about what the game is now with regards to features and mechanics that really got me excited again, and this is where it really gets fun. In many ways, the Architect Paris is still very much the same game as it was in 2018. The core idea of the game then, designing and customizing buildings and districts, is still the core of the game today, but possibly even more expanded now that it's not bogged down by management tools and mechanics. The Architect Paris is divided into two main areas, the city view and the drawing board. In the city view, you get to look out over parts of the city that you have designed or plan to design, and get a feel of the land as it were. Aiding you in this brainstorming or admiration phase are a series of customizations from various times of day, seasons, even different weather. What better way to see how a new district might look than testing out the feel of it early in the morning on a cloudy day, or maybe in the evening while it's snowing. The city view is a fantastic way to see the evolution of your city as you design, giving you a sky-high view as you design every district. You can plan out cultural districts with similar design patterns, or maybe go a bit more chaotic and have every block be something wildly different. The choices are non-consequential and entirely up to you. At some point in the future post-release, Enodo Games is looking to expand on the customization options in the city view, with plans to add a photo mode, allowing you to take pro-style pictures of your city, hopefully adding in actual camera settings like focus, depth of field, exposure, etc., etc. The city view is something that Enodo will continue to work on as the game gets further into development, so what you see in this screenshot is definitely not its final form. The drawing board is where most of the meat of designing takes place, and within it are several features. When it comes to designing in the drawing board, you will have almost complete creative freedom to craft as you please. As these few pictures in the trailer are scrolling, you can see loads of customization options within just single blocks of buildings. You have structure types, construction material, and even rooftop options. You can take to the ground, placing paths, landscaping, and foliage, office buildings, residential, parks, outdoor cafes, cultural and art pieces. They are all possible inside the block builder. You can modify a single building by adding structures on top of it or beside it, modify every building in the block at the same time, or even modify the actual block. By that, I mean you can literally change the dimensions and zoning codes of the block, well, within a few predefined, non-breakable rules, of course. If you're wondering just how you'll be inspired to create, well, anything in this game, that's where the design library comes into play. The design library is full of pre-designed buildings, giving you a wide variety of them to choose from and establish a base. You'll be able to take that base building and edit it as you like using the aforementioned drawing board, or if you just like how they are in the library itself, just plop it down in your block and be done with it. The Architect Paris will release with 50 of these designs right off the bat for you to play around with, and Enodo intends on releasing new designs monthly as development continues. Now, one thing I haven't mentioned yet, which is sure to pop up in some people's minds, is this. Most, but not all, of the main Parisian cultural buildings can also be modified to have additional structures on them, although these will naturally be much more selective. The goal is to design the city how you want, but take away the Notre Dame or the Louvre, or modify it to where it's barely recognizable, and you'll lose a major cultural shift that makes Paris truly unique. The last tidbit of info that I want to drop in regards to the design library and the drawing board are your city statistics. Every building you plop down, every modification you make, and any block that you redistribute will affect the statistics of your city. Population density, the year the buildings were constructed, the eco levels, etc., etc., these will all contribute to your stats. These statistics do not have any real impact on your city. Again, this isn't a management sim, it's pure construction bliss, but there is the potential in the future that factors such as population density, among others, will determine the density of people and eventually vehicles that are traversing the city. Your city stats are more for intrinsic purposes, or even for showing off to your friends in the community. There are undoubtedly several other mechanics, menus, and customization options in the drawing board, yet this will mark the end of my knowledge within the conversations in the devs. Regardless, this part of the game will definitely be consuming my interests and my OCD, and I know many others who love this style of creation will follow. Now it's time to look at release and to the future. The Architect Paris will indeed be releasing into early access, whatever the date might be. As with any early access game, the Architect Paris will not have all of its features available day one. While that is concerning to some, I'll briefly go over what I know about early access. 50 designs in the design library, a very wide range of customization tools in the drawing board, including the plot or block editor that changes dimensions and layout, a small handful of entire districts, not just blocks, entire districts in the center of Paris, including ones that contain the Louvre and Notre Dame. The city view with multiple environmental settings and the beginning of the city stats as just mentioned. Honestly, that's a lot more to a game of this scope than most other games drop on initial early access, and should give ample amount of creativity and replayability until the future things start getting added in. Those future things? In talking with the developers, their goals are to routinely add more designs to the design library and districts into the game, such as having most of the center of Paris playable, especially those districts along the Seine River. There's the implementation of more tools, both in the city view and in the drawing board, with the goal here being 100% customization ability. This part is pretty exciting for me personally, and I wonder just how detailed they are thinking in terms of complete design customization. Could we get down to the nitty-gritty of things like windows, doors, and fences or lawn types? Put up adverts on the sides of buildings, etc., etc. That would be really cool if we could do so. Then there are the more abstract and community-focused objectives. Modding is something the team is passionate about and are looking to add quickly, no doubt allowing people to bring in buildings, structures, and other scenery to truly make cities unique through the Steam Workshop. Community sharing is yet one more feature they'll want to develop, where I can share with my audience a unique block layout or perhaps just a really cool building I've created in the game. The ultimate idea for a finished game is one full of entirely unique cities, full of districts and landmarks that are truly yours, inspired both by the designs and districts that will steadily be implemented by Enodo and creations that the community will undoubtedly contribute. To wrap up this video, I will be completely honest in that when I first talked to Enodo and heard how the game had changed, I was indeed pretty disappointed. The 2018 version had a lot of interesting concept mechanics and features that I was eager to get my hands on. However, as the conversation progressed and as I watched the trailer, analyzed the images provided, and received more details on the current state of the game, my disappointment turned to excitement. The potential in the Architect Paris is still 100% there as it was a few years ago, it's just changed up a bit, with much more focused approach from Enodo Games. I'm optimistic for the future of this game, and now I can't wait to get my hands on it for entirely different reasons. Thank you everyone for checking out my video on the Architect Paris. Another huge thanks to Enodo Games for allowing me to make such exclusive content. I very much enjoyed crafting this video. Let me know what you think of the new state of the game by commenting down below. If you are new to this channel, I focus on strategy and simulation games much like the Architect Paris. If that's your thing, then click the subscribe button and turn on the bell notification. You can support this channel by becoming a member here or on Patreon, and check out my Twitch for live stream coverage of both old and upcoming strategy games. Hope you enjoyed the video. This is Havoc, and I will see you in the next one.